Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats here at the TIFF BELL LIGHTBOX in downtown Toronto with the well-known Toronto filmmaker Ingrid Veninger, who I've interviewed before. It's so nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
How does it feel to be here at TIFF for The End of Time, which you produced?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that this TIFF BELL LIGHTBOX exists. The last time we screened here was at the film festival, and now we're back for our release. This is the first day of our release. I'm really happy that we got the December 12th, 2012 date, because it was so easy to say 12, 12, 12, and then I would test people and say, when are we releasing? They'd say 12, 12, 12. I'd be like, yeah. Because not that often people remember your release date, so that was really good. And it's great to be back screening here, and then we're also on Canada's Top 10, so we'll be screening here again mid-January. I mean, I hope our run goes all the way through the end of December into the middle of January so that we last on the screen here for a month, which depends on how many people come.
How did you get involved in the project, and what was it like working with Peter Mettler?
Well, I got involved in the project about 4 years ago. I'd worked with him as a producer on Gambling Gods and LSD, and this film, in fact, is kind of a trilogy, completing the trilogy, which started with Picture of Light, which I was the line producer on, and then Gambling Gods and LSD, which was 10 years ago, which I was one of the co-producers of, and now The End of Time. Those are the 3 films. And I just took a producer's poll inside the house, and there was a fair amount of hands that went up when I asked if who had never seen a Peter Mettler film before. So I'm glad that we're recruiting new people, and I hope the people that see The End of Time will go and look at Gambling Gods and LSD and Picture of Light. So I've been working with him for 20 years.
How has working on the film influenced your concept of time?
Well, how would you define your concept of time?
That's really difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we try to live our lives in the moment, and I don't really know what that means except that we try to be as present for everything as possible. And that's a real challenge when you're producing, because you're always having to anticipate what's coming up. And I think a real goal for the making of this film, which was a 5-year process, was to be in the moment of it through the difficulties and challenges, through the great periods when we, screened at TIFF and at Locarno and engaged with people that were really affected by the film, to dealing with administration, to making phone calls and asking for favors, to locking down locations. All of it was a real exercise in being present, which is kind of counterintuitive to producing. But I like that challenge, and I really love watching the film because it kind of gives my brain a break. And now I'm writing my next screenplay, so I'm looking forward to, now I'm doing the interview with you, and it's playing right now, and I'm looking forward to getting back in there, because I just kind of free fall when I watch the film, and my mind goes in all different kinds of directions, and it really is a film that I think is a collective experience, but also is a very, very individual experience.
How do you recommend audiences approach the film when you go in? What kind of mindset do you think you'll get the most out of it in?
It's so patronizing to tell people how to watch a film.
Yeah.
I just think, just come into it with however you are. I mean, if your mind is active, you're going to have one experience with it. If you're more relaxed and you're more receptive and you're more willing to sort of surrender into the experience and not overthink it too much, you're going to have a different experience. If you're really, really tired, you might have a nap and lose consciousness and then come back into consciousness, and that's going to be a different experience of the film. And I think they're all worth it and valid and meaningful, because I think sometimes we psych ourselves up for rigorous films. I think this is a rigorous film. I think it's a film that pushes a lot of people's buttons, and that's done with a lot of intention. I mean, having Peter worked on this film for 5 years, there's nothing arbitrary about the choices he made in every frame that you see in the film. So the whole journey of the film is very conscious, and it does push people. And for example, I don't meditate. I've thought about meditating. I'd like to meditate. I'd like to do the 10-day Vipassana thing. I have never been able to do it. But for me, this film is like a meditation. And I guess I find it easier to surrender through the experience of watching a film. So I think it has a lot to offer people if you stick with it. And some people can't, and they have to leave. And I just hope they come back and give it another shot.
And how has the festival experience been for you? You've been to tons of different festivals, been getting a lot of buzz. What's that been like?
Yeah, we screened at Locarno, and I went with Peter, and we screened here, and the National Film Board of Canada, who's our co-producer, sold it to the US. So we sold to First Run Features, and that's going to have a theatrical release in March. And I just went to India, and Peter's been to many festivals. He was in Berlin, he was in Florence, he was in Amsterdam at IDFA. He's going to be going to Buenos Aires. And, you know, the response is really, really interesting in each different place. I think that some people are really moved and really emotional, and they kind of come flooding with their own ideas about time, be they scientific ideas or philosophical ideas or faith-based ideas or experiential things. They just come to Peter with stories, and they're really moved and they're overwhelmed. And then other people are quite angry because they feel maybe the film didn't live up to certain kinds of expectations. Everybody has their own idea about time. So I think it's amazing that he took on this subject, because everybody's read about time. Everybody has a sense of time. Everybody's, you know, running against the clock all the time. So when there is a film that questions all of that, questions the very notion of time, and says it doesn't matter what time it is at the very beginning of the film. Well, during the Toronto International Film Festival, I was at the press and industry screening, and there were a few people walking out, and one guy said, "I've got places to be. Like, it does matter what time it is." And he was really offended by that line. And then another person said, "I just, you know, I've read a lot about time, and the beginning is a bit too scientific for me, and I couldn't get over that, and it's just, the film's not what I thought it would be." And I said, well, maybe don't think so hard and get right back in there and stick it out to the end, and then let's have a conversation. And I was actually able to turn a few people around. Sorry, I just spit on your microphone.
No, it's okay.
Turn a few people around, and had really, really interesting connections with people because of that, because they had to overcome some resistance they had initially.
And where is the best place to find out more information on the film and the screenings in the top 10, and on your work as well as a filmmaker online?
I was just thinking my answers are so long, you can only ask me 3 questions.
Yeah.
All right. We have a Facebook page, The End of Time Movie on Facebook. We have a website, theendoftimemovie.com. And I should say that if you're coming to see the film at the Lightbox, all the way up until the 22nd, we are having an end of the world after party. The world's not going to end on December 21st, but we're having a party on December 22nd at the Ontario Place Cinesphere, which is now called Atlantis. And if you keep your movie ticket stub and you show up before 11 o'clock, you get $10 off admission. And it's a really big event. If anyone knows Peter, they know he likes to dance, so it starts at 10 and goes till 5 in the morning. And he's doing his live image mixing, and there's an incredible lineup of DJs. So just remember to keep your movie ticket stub and get down to Atlantis on December 22nd before 11 p.m.
Awesome. And for your own work as well?
Punk Films.
Perfect.
That's me. punkfilms.ca.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ingrid, again, and congratulations on the film, and can't wait to see more of your work.
Great. Thank you very much.
I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats here at the TIFF BELL LIGHTBOX in downtown Toronto.